morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I'm Christine Gregg. I serve as the House Democratic Leader. I also represent the cities of Farmington and Farmington Hills in Oakland County. And I'd like to recognize all my colleagues, both in the House and the Senate, that are here today to support the work that we're doing, to support our workers, and to make sure that we have a fair share economy. I'm really excited to be here today with all of you because we're here to tackle a very serious problem, and that affects every single hardworking Michigander, and that's payroll fraud. Today we're introducing a plan to crack down on employers that cheat their workers and rob millions of dollars from taxpayers. This is a package of bills designed to protect millions of hardworking employees, independent contractors, and business owners who are the backbone of our state's economy and who play by the rules. They provide the labor, the expertise, and ingenuity to create a wide array of goods and services. And they should receive the wages and benefits that they earned and deserve. And business owners who follow the law and pay their taxes must have an equitable marketplace that enables them to successfully compete. Our bipartisan legislation will stop shady companies and bad actors from cheating the workers of their wages that they're owed. Payroll fraud affects us all. This crime robs workers and taxpayers of hundreds of millions of dollars every single year. And too often, offenders escape accountability and punishment. Michigan cannot afford to turn a blind eye to the severe problem of payroll fraud. Our bipartisan proposals will protect Michigan workers and taxpayers from shady businesses that cheat us all. Crooked businesses, listen to this, crooked businesses stole an estimated $429 million in wages and overtime pay from Michigan workers between 2013 and 2015, in that very short time frame. And that affected more than 2.8 million workers. When bad actors refuse to pay their workers and pay their fair share like other taxpayers, they rob us all. That missing revenue would have done wonders for our crumbling roads and help put our schools on the path to success. Yet greedy companies are holding us all back. Workers and businesses that play by the rules are demanding a crackdown on payroll fraud. We're grateful for Attorney General Dana Nessel's leadership on this issue, for her creation of a special payroll fraud enforcement unit to improve efficiency and crack down on payroll fraud. And with the bipartisanship we're seeing on this package, we look forward to it moving quickly through the legislature. And now I'd like to turn it over to Senator Curtis Hertel.
Thank you, Leader Gregg. I'm proud as a senator for the 23rd District to stand here with my colleagues from both sides of the aisle and Attorney General Nessel in supporting this critical legislation. Today is an example of legislators putting workers, taxpayers, and good quality businesses that play by the rules over partisan politics. The issue of wage theft and companies breaking the rules to cheat people is serious, and it's bigger than any one party. Companies that commit wage theft are creating an unfair and illegal advantage for themselves. What these companies are doing is distorting and rigging the free market for their benefit. Crooked companies hurt businesses that play by the rules. When a bad actor cheats its workers and doesn't pay taxes, they are breaking the law to give themselves an unfair competitive advantage over legitimate businesses who do play by the rules. When companies commit payroll fraud, they don't just hurt their workers. They're robbing from all of us. Bad actors cost Michigan taxpayers over $100 million a year in lost revenue because they're not paying taxes like everyone else does. And again, if you or I didn't pay our taxes, we would go to jail, while they are mostly getting off scot-free. We believe that our economy is strongest when every business is able to compete on a level playing field and everyone plays by the rules. Businesses deserve the freedom and security to innovate. invest, create jobs, and they do that best with a level playing field. And hardworking Michiganders deserve to know that their employer isn't ripping them off by cheating them of overtime, unemployment, or workers' comp. Fighting payroll fraud and reining in companies that cheat and steal, and taxpayers making sure that they're kept whole as well, are steps that we can all take in the right direction to restore fairness for workers, taxpayers, and for legitimate businesses. These common sense proposals will level the playing field so all businesses can compete fairly in Michigan. We in Michigan open our arms to economic opportunities and true competition, where anyone who works hard, anyone who plays by the rules can succeed. That's a Michigan where everyone can benefit. And I now turn it over to Representative Mari Manoogian, who is part of the package.
Thank you so much, Senator. Sorry, I'm very short. I'm State Rep Mari Manoogian. I live in Birmingham, and I represent Birmingham, Bloomfield Hills, Bloomfield Township, and a portion of West Bloomfield, and that's the 40th District. And once again, I want to echo what's been said here and thank my colleagues for coming together on an issue that affects local businesses and hardworking Michiganders. Moving Michigan forward is a bipartisan effort. Cracking down on bad actors is a bipartisan effort. Protecting Michigan families from getting ripped off is a bipartisan effort. Let me briefly outline the legislation we are introducing in the legislature. We will strengthen whistleblower protections to shield employees who report wrongdoing. This bill will also provide incentives when whistleblowers step forward and speak up. We will toughen penalties against payroll fraud to make Michigan a leader in protecting workers. And we will reimburse cheated workers by making sure that companies that cheat them pay them the back wages and benefits that they are owed. For too long, bad actors have brazenly broken the law. Companies are using crooked labor brokers, subcontractors, and shell companies to avoid paying workers full wages, overtime, and benefits. They misclassify workers, and they report employees as self-employed independent contractors to avoid paying overtime and payroll taxes. According to the U.S. Treasury, the United States loses $45.6 billion every year. Let me repeat that again. $45.6 billion every year because of payroll fraud, which affects 1 in 5 households in Michigan. These bad actors are violating simple labor and employment tax laws. Our legislation will level this playing field so businesses that play by the rules will not be unfairly disadvantaged when they compete against companies that cheat. Bad actors that refuse to pay their workers full wages and overtime and dodge taxes the rest of us pay should not be allowed to undercut legitimate businesses and their employees. These are American values, and these are Michigan values. When you work hard, you deserve to get paid, period. To speak a little more to this package, I'd like to welcome State Senator Erica Geis.
Thank you, Representative Manoogian. I'm State Senator Erica Geis, and I represent the 6th Senate District. That's 4 townships and 6 cities in the Downriver and Western Wayne County area. Payroll fraud hurts those who are most powerless to fight back. They are the single breadwinner who's counting on the job to put food on the table and has few options. They are the African American and Latino women who already face significant discrimination in the workplace. They are the older workers who may face real challenges starting over if they lose their jobs. The proposals that we're introducing today are a few ways that we can empower workers to fight back against shady businesses that cheat and exploit their workers. They're a message for companies that bully workers that enough is enough. They're a message to companies that play by the rules that Michigan has their backs. We will not tolerate companies when they cheat workers and when they cheat other businesses. As much as this legislation is about economics, it's also about our values. In Michigan, we pay our bills, we pay people what they're owed, and we don't cheat and steal to get ahead. There are a few people who may think that's okay, but in Michigan, we don't. We stand up to cheats, and we stand up for the people who've been harmed. And we'll refuse to turn a blind eye when criminals rob their workers. The days of these companies operating under the radar, confident that they can get away with it because no one is looking, well, let me tell you, those days are over. There's long overdue proposals will finally give us the tools that we need to rein in payroll fraud and make sure that workers, our people, the people that we all represent, get paid what they've earned for a hard day's work. And now to speak more, I'd like to introduce our Attorney General, Dana Nussel.
Thank you, Senator. So now you've each heard the high price that hardworking Michiganders pay when businesses who don't play by the rules cheat them out of their wages. And in fact, you probably saw the charges my office issued just yesterday against a Lansing-based business owner who is alleged to have stolen over $52,000 from his employees by failing to put the money his workers directed to be set aside for their retirement accounts into their 401ks, and instead decided to use that money, their savings, for himself. So for far too long, Michigan has been a state, unfortunately, where unscrupulous business owners could get away with payroll fraud. And there's really no one out there willing and able to do anything at all about it. Businesses can afford to pay lawyers $300, $400, $500 an hour when somebody rips them off. But what about the workers in this state? Who do they turn to when they need help? Well, the Department of Attorney General is now the people's law firm once again. And we stand ready to protect Michigan workers who have been exploited. And while payroll fraud is devastating to workers and to their families, as you've heard, it hurts all of us. It hurts all taxpayers in this state who play by the rules. And these companies, they scam the system by wrongfully reporting their employees as self-employed independent contractors, or by paying workers under the table and refusing to pay overtime, benefits, health insurance, and workers' compensation. And because they cheat on time cards and keep costs off the table and off the books, you know, they're, as you heard, they're not paying taxes. And when I ran for the office of Michigan Attorney General, you know, I made a commitment to the workers of this state that I would fight my hardest to protect them. And today, with all of these great legislators here, I am making good on that promise. And I've got lots of great partners in this important endeavor. Of course, all of these amazing legislators and the ones that are in the audience here today that are supportive of this package of bills. Also, the U.S. Department of Labor, the Internal Revenue Service, the Michigan Department of Labor and Economic Opportunity, the Michigan Department of Treasury, the Michigan Immigration Center, and the Michigan Regional Council of Carpenters and Millwrights. Thank you for your participation and your assistance. So the role of the Attorney General is to enforce the law, and the role of the legislature is to create the strongest laws possible for me to enforce to best dissuade businesses from skirting the law and acting improperly. And I'm very grateful to these lawmakers on both sides of the aisle who are willing to fight for Michigan workers. While our payroll fraud enforcement unit continues to take in and to investigate hundreds of these complaints through our website, through our tip line, the legislation these lawmakers are introducing today will provide very badly needed additional protections for workers, for their families, and for all Michiganders. And I'm so proud to have my department working in conjunction with these legislators to ensure that these bills create very sound public policy that provides the necessary enforcement measures that we need to do just that. So as you've heard a little bit, you know, these bills do multiple things. They extend whistleblower protections to all employees, including independent contractors and job applicants once a complaint has been made. They allow for complainants to remain anonymous. They increase penalties for wage theft crimes. And they make certain that those who file false claims are held accountable with penalties for falsified information. Now, these proposals set forth today make great strides in ensuring that payroll fraud criminals are appropriately punished and that those who are cheated are actually paid back what they're owed. And it significantly disincentivizes those who are inclined to cheat the system in the first place. So I want to again commend these legislators for putting Michigan families and taxpayers first. I think it's another great example of what we can accomplish when we really all work together to move our state forward. And for everybody watching, please know that our office continues to follow up on every single solitary payroll fraud complaint that we receive. And so if you believe that you've been a victim, please report it to our website, mi.gov/payroll fraud, or you can call us at 833-221-1099. And with that, I thank everybody, and I turn it back to Leader Greg. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney General Nessel. Thank you for your leadership on that. You know, growing up, my very first job at age 16, 17, and 18 was working in a dime store, basically. And I was often told to carry over my overtime so that it could be paid straight time the following week when I didn't have as many hours. And I really wish I would have had an Attorney General that had my back, knowing that I could call, or a legislature to have my back, that I could call in and report this without fear of being fired. That's what this is about. This is about fighting for workers every single day, giving them a voice and giving them protections of law and a people's attorney. But that was a long time ago. I think it's so important to bring this home today and hear the stories that are of our workers today that are being impacted to this. And so I'd like to introduce Nolan Ostrowski. Nolan?
Morning. My name is Nolan Ostrowski, and I'm from Eden Rapids. I'm here to tell you about an experience that I had with a company that was stealing from me and other workers. In 2013, I replied to a Craigslist ad. It was looking for carpenters to build townhouses in a project in the city of Detroit. The company that placed the ad was called Hammer Construction. After applying to the ad, I received a call promising steady work and good wages. After the first week of work without knowing my hourly rate of pay, I finally was able to corner the owner the following Monday, when he stated his workers were paid well and not to worry. On Tuesday of that same week, 2 new guys started, and they also did not know what their rate of pay was, just that was promised to them to be a good wage. The next day, I called and told Hammer Construction that I would no longer work without a rate of pay, which was promised to me at $19 an hour. When payday came around on Friday, the boss was nowhere to be found. He would not take my calls. I had previously filed a complaint with the state of Michigan regarding a different employer who didn't pay overtime rates, so I knew what to do. I came to find out that the guy had 2 businesses at one address, and I was advised to file a lawsuit on both companies to receive my wages, since I had no idea which business I had truly worked for. So I did. Over 10 months later, I finally got the money I earned. But even when I did, because I was a 1099 worker, I was screwed out of my overtime pay on the job. The business I was working for used shady practices to avoid paying workers like me, and I was cheated out of my overtime and benefits, which is the most important part. We all believe that you should get paid for fair wage for a hard day's work. I want to thank the House Democrats and the Attorney General, Dana Nessel, for raising awareness about this unfair practice. I appreciate the time. I appreciate them taking steps to look out for workers who just want to get a decent wage and provide for our families. I truly thank you.
Thank you, Nolan, and we've got your back. That's what this is about. This is about workers in our state. This is how we grow an economy. This is a pro-growth strategy to pay workers what they've earned and what they deserve.